What time it is? It is Sipping with Sue time. I am Szu-Moy, and if you are joining us for the first time, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, chatting with real people doing real things extraordinarily. And if you haven't gone over to my YouTube channel, please do smash the subscribe button, hit the bell to get all of the latest content as soon as it is uploaded. So we are to the end of another week, TGIF. And of course, if you'd like to support this stream right now, you can buy me a drink right there with the QR code. Cheers. But we are, yes, cheers. We are to the end of the week. And tonight I have the pleasure of welcoming a man that has literally done something that I wish I could do if it weren't for my innate fear of heights, which always gets the best of me. Please welcome my good buddy, Shawn Cressman. Cheers. How are you, Shawn?
Cheers. I'm doing well, Sue.
I know. So I've got Prosecco. You've got what?
I've got an old fashioned with some Buffalo
Mm-hmm.
Trace.
Oh, of course you do. Of course.
Yep.
That's right. We've had that
I love
conversation
them.
before. You're an old-fashioned guy. We
Hmm.
still have to get you over to have to try Juan's old fashions because they're
I
so good.
do. Yeah, those are next level, I hear.
Yes, they are. He's very proud of them and he takes his time and he's got the smoking kit now and he's just like all about it. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
But so glad to have you back in country. So glad to have
Hmm.
you back here and actually on the show right now. So just so we can get things rolling and started, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself so that folks can get acquainted with you?
Sure. So, from Pennsylvania originally, grew up in a small town, and then moved to Texas about 8, 9 years ago,
Hmm.
and started working in the defense industrial space, doing some cyber work. And I've always been into hiking, adventure, doing the Appalachian Trail, Mount Washington in New Hampshire,
Hmm.
and Guadalupe Peak in West Texas. So the opposite of Szu-Moy, I love heights, and I'll try to go as
I
high
mean, I
as I
love
can.
hiking. I just the heights, like kind of, I have to challenge myself to do these. So I
Yeah,
love hiking, but I have to challenge myself because the heights are like, yeah, I get a little like,
yeah, I love the heights, and all of a sudden Mount Everest was there, and the time and the price were right. So
That's so awesome.
committed
And
to
then,
it.
so you're like a nature buff by like from a long time ago, because before you were in the defense industry, you were doing something completely different also.
I was. My family owned
Hmm.
a landscape design and tree company, and I grew up in it since I was before I was born, really, and
Hmm.
ran the company for 10 years before my dad retired. We sold it, and yeah, I spent a lot of time in landscape design and tree care as an arborist, and even did that a little bit in Texas before I changed careers, midlife.
Yes, very cool. I know now you're crushing it in the defense industry space. So awesome. Congratulations to that. So we're gonna take it back a little bit with this trip. So I know that COVID, I think, probably like messed things up a little bit for you. So how long have you been planning this trip to Nepal?
So I actually booked this trip or committed to it in July of 2018.
Oh my gosh.
Um, a childhood friend of mine is the guy that owns the trekking company that ran the trip out of the U.S. He partnered with a Nepali company to actually provide the guides, but his company is a wilderness medicine training company, and again, right time, right price. He gave me the friends and family discount and
Hmm.
committed in 2018. Supposed to leave April of 2020, so I paid for the trip in 2019, and April came and went, and COVID was here, and I stayed home
Yes,
till
I know.
till
As
this
we all
year.
did, as we all did.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so booked the trip in 2018. Fast forward, now it's literally a couple months ago, right? So how long is the total package or the total time that you spent within country in Nepal?
I was there about 20 or 21 days.
Hmm.
Um, came in after midnight. I don't know. I kind of lost track of the count, but the trek up and down was about 17. But we had a few days on the front and a few days on the back end in Kathmandu, just to allow for
Acclimation and stuff.
acclimation, or sometimes you may get caught up in the mountains due to weather an extra day or two, and you can't fly back to Kathmandu. So we just built in a buffer there in case we got back late. We didn't miss our
Hmm.
flight back to the U.S.
Oh
Yeah, but
wow, awesome.
about 21 days total.
Yeah, 3 weeks. Well, I think that's a sufficient time for as far as you had to travel. So, how long was the flight over there?
All told, about I think 28 hours on the way there and 35 on the way back, counting
Mhm.
counting layovers in Los Angeles and then um, Qatar or Qatar on the way there, and
Mhm.
then on the way back, same thing. Stopped in Qatar for 7 or 8 hours, and then Dallas for a few hours.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome.
So
So I feel like this is definitely not a trip or an adventure that she would plan on a whim, right? So, what kind of things did you have to do to prepare for this hike, like training? And I was telling you beforehand that my sister-in-law's best friend is a nurse, and she has a lot of inflow of patients that
mhm.
have to get cleared and go through her to actually go and do this type of a hike. So, what kind of things did you have to do beforehand, the things you brought, what you brought there, and all of the everything in between.
So it was a lot. I'm kind of glad I had a couple years to pull it off because one of the first things I did was just bought a pair of hiking boots and broke them in.
Mhm,
Bought a backpack and did a lot of hikes around the hill country in San Antonio in my neighborhood. Just
mhm.
getting used to the gear, buying different things, trying different things, and also the gear can get pretty pricey when if you buy it all at once. So I spread it out
Uh-huh.
over a few months,
Okay.
and then also the visas, the passport, making sure that was all situated beforehand, and then the medical side. We had to make sure that we went to the CDC website and got the list of recommended immunizations for Nepal and any other countries we passed through. And some of those, like I think it was one of the hepatitis shots.
Mhm.
It's 2 rounds and they're several months apart, so you need to start 3 to 5
Well, in
months
advance.
ahead
Okay.
of time. Yeah. Um, up in the mountains, you may not actually run into some of those things like
Mhm.
malaria, but better safe than sorry. I didn't want to have a multi-thousand-dollar trip ruined just because I got sick from a shot I could have gotten. So,
Correct. Yeah.
and then yeah, the other prep was just I did a lot of reading and watching some documentaries about the people, about the terrain, the mountain itself. So I'd go over there with a baseline of knowledge that I would appreciate what I'm
Mhm.
seeing and what it takes for other people to get up there. And yeah, and
Cool. So you brought
some cultural things too.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, because we didn't want any international incidents for sure.
no, no.
So you had the hiking boots, you brought the backpack. What are the things that you bought while you were there, that maybe you probably couldn't get here?
So there were a few things like the sleeping bag and the down jacket.
Mhm.
They're bulky, they're big, they're heavy, and it would have cost almost as much to transport them to the other hemisphere and back. It was just cheaper to rent that gear. So
Oh,
some
okay,
of
so
those,
that you can rent them
Mhm.
instead of buying. Okay, okay,
Yep, yep. So for the
awesome.
sleeping bags, I just bought like a $10 nylon liner
Mhm.
because they're used by other people. So, um,
Yeah,
but yeah, we could rent that kind of gear and then not have to worry about it getting lost in in luggage. It's not something
yeah.
you can carry on.
Speaking of
Um,
which, all of the things and the like we were just talking about. Also, I saw that video on LinkedIn about how many things are left when people are hiking and how it's polluting the area. So tell us a little bit about that because it's so sad that just to see that video, how many things are left behind by folks that are hiking. And you said potentially from the people that live there too, there's just a lot of rubbish and debris that's left over there. So tell us a little bit about that.
yeah, so when you go from Kathmandu, you fly up to Lukla, which is a small town with kind of the last airport. And then from there, it's a 44-mile trek up that's not accessible by any motorized vehicle. It's either horses or yaks or on foot.
Mhm.
And there's multiple villages, several dozen along the way. And many of them are clean, but there are a few residents that just they're messy people and don't take care of their properties. And there's a lot of trash at a few little spots along the trail. But a base camp, which is on a glacier up at the base of Mount Everest, that was relatively clean. They clean that up every late summer, early fall. They clean that up and break it down. And there's usually nothing left there over the winter. It's uninhabitable. and they'll rebuild it in the spring because the glacier moves and shifts over the
Hmm.
winter. But above that, on your trek up to the actual summit through camps 1, 2, 3, 4, the South Summit, there are those camps, and those are more permanent. And from going back decades, there's just piles of trash, old tents that ripped, people that had to get medically evacuated, that no one took responsibility for their equipment they left up there.
Hmm.
And people that have also passed away. There are sometimes there's solo trekkers who go up with no guide, no assistance, no help, no team, and they leave gear, they pass away, they leave whatever they came up with. And again, many
Wow.
years ago, they accumulated a lot, probably hundreds of oxygen bottles that they would just use them and just discard them. And just carrying your own gear up and back is very, very strenuous, and bringing any extra gear or weight is can be actually dangerous or sometimes fatal. So it's a real it's a heavy lift to bring that
Hmm.
garbage down. But some of the Nepali guides have made it part of their mission as their trek is to bring little pieces of that down just bit by bit.
Wow.
And
Wow.
same
I'm
thing
glad.
along the trail. The,
Mhm.
the government of Nepal has a program where they'll give you a rough or a durable trash bag, and you bring about 3 pounds all the way 44 miles back with you.
And you're saying
So,
every half pound or every quarter pound counts.
uh-huh.
So how much you
Yeah.
said how much weight did you lose while you were doing this three week hike
So
excursion?
just on the like 17 days up and back, I dropped 12 pounds in about 2 weeks.
Nuts. It's
Um,
nuts.
so it's, unfortunately, some of it was muscle.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, a lot of fat, muscle, it all just went because we went all vegetarian for our diet. The meat situation up there doesn't really have refrigeration, so
Hmm.
the guides recommended that our Western digestive systems not subject ourselves to that.
Yes, and go a little vegetarian for a little bit, a little cleansing, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
A little bit of a
yeah,
cleanse as opposed to the opposite end, if you will.
yeah, yeah. GI issues can ruin a trip real fast.
For sure, for sure. Oh my goodness. All right, so it is the tallest point on Earth. So, were there
Mhm.
any crazy things that happened during the hike that you guys saw or encountered?
There one little unfortunate situation. One of the Nepali guides was not one of ours. Another one was
Hmm.
riding a horse, and he was going a little too fast down the trail. And there are some other Nepali porters that they
Hmm.
carry the food, the water. They carry it from town to town, and he
Hmm.
hit him with the horse and knocked his whole load off a cliff. Um, didn't even stop
Wow.
to help, and that was unfortunate because that person carried probably 100 pounds of gear for dozens of miles just to have it
Hmm.
dumped down a cliff that was irretrievable. So
Right.
that he didn't get paid, and he had to walk dozens of miles to go get more.
Back. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. Oh.
So that was unfortunate. Um, but otherwise, we were blessed with good weather.
Hmm.
It was on the colder side. The previous year, this company that my friend owns, they did part of the trek in t-shirt and shorts. Um,
And you were
but
like,
we were bundled head to toe.
so the weather is always just so Mother Nature. It's so questionable. So when you're packing your gear, because I get cold all the time, so I would be like, okay, I need like a thinsulate and a hat and
Hmm.
like sweatshirt and jacket and all this other stuff. But again, all that stuff, if you're not using it, then you have to carry all that stuff. So how do you, I don't know, how do you, I guess, discern to like what you're going to be carrying,
Well,
dependent upon, I guess, the time of year or whatever.
our trekking company gave us a very short packing list and said this is what you can do the trip on. If you bring more, you may end up regretting it or just leaving
Hmm.
it or giving it away. In fact, some of our folks on our way back down, there were gear they just gave away to
Hmm.
some of the Nepali residents. Just hey, here's a free jacket, here's a free raincoat,
Yeah.
here's some nice stuff. But that was generous.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, when you have 3 pairs of socks that you didn't wear, and you can give them away, or you can carry them for 40 miles. You give them away.
Here.
Yeah.
Take it all. Oh my goodness. So would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely. I think about it all the time.
Yeah. How much was the total package for a normal person, I guess, if they're going to do a 3 week excursion with a guide, with a, an actual guide and the company like you went through?
So we went with Himalayan Wonders, which is
Hmm.
it's an American. The owner is American, and I think his wife is Nepali, and they have a Nepali company. You can go direct with them, and they'll take you up and back. They'll pick you up at the airport and work the
Hmm.
hotel accommodations in Kathmandu. Um, the company I went on used them as a base and then built a curriculum for wilderness medicine on top of that. So I paid a little bit of a premium for
Okay.
extra. But I think all told, you could probably go to base camp and back with Himalayan Wonders for 2,500 to 3,000, plus maybe another 2,000 for flight, another 1,000 for gear that you buy beforehand, and maybe another 1,000 over there for incidentals, tips, um, gifts,
Hmm.
souvenirs. So yeah, maybe 7 to 8,000 would be
Hmm.
somewhat reasonable.
For three
Hmm.
weeks. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. Michelle is on and she said, what made you decide to hike Mount Everest?
Gosh, well, the company that I went with, Sergeant Rescue, again, the guy who my friend, the company that my friend owns,
Hmm.
he had gone several years in a row prior. I think they went in 2016, 17, 18, and other friends of mine that I knew had gone back, and just their stories, their pictures were incredible, and it was not something that was. I always thought it would be cool, but it was never just in my realm of possible. But
Hmm.
when I saw these folks do it, and one or two of them were in less shape than me, it's like, well, okay, if they can do it, and Jason's given me a good deal, I'd be stupid not to. It's now or never.
Hmm.
So, yep,
So you're like, all right,
yeah, it was
we're
just
doing it.
right time, right price, and I like doing Spartan races and obstacle course races. I'm very outdoorsy. I love hiking and just pushing my body to the limit. So this was one I could take where the chances of injury and death were very low. I don't know if I would attempt the summit because the fatality rates
The risk is
kind of
it's
high.
a lot more risky than what you guys did. But still, that's like still a
And
major feat, obviously.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there were some times up at base camp where, and just in just the hike in general, the lack of oxygen gets to
Hmm.
you, and you get physically drained.
Hmm.
So at
You're
some
a
point it
cheap
becomes
date if you take a
mental.
sip.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I can't really. I can grab it. I think I took this with me. I hiked it all the way up to the top,
Hmm.
and just a little shot of Patron, and we split this 6 ways to celebrate.
Hmm. And you guys were super cheap dates afterwards.
Oh yes, oh yes.
That is fantastic. All right, let's show folks what a hike to Mount Everest looks like. Shawn's got a video here real quick. Let me go ahead and get that started. Well, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm sure you had a heck of a time just like going through all of these photos and memories. And it's just like, man, when I said, would you go back
Oh
again?
yeah.
And you're like, yes.
Oh yes. I tend to only remember the good things and
Mhm.
not how cold it was or
Yeah, that
how
one little
uncomfortable it
clip
was
where
to.
you're like, it's just pelting down. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, we got a torrential rained on one
Mhm.
day. It snowed on for about 3 or 4 days in a
That
row.
was your shower though, right?
Uh,
I mean, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Showers were seldom.
I'm sure for 3 whole weeks.
Yeah, they were available, but it was cold,
Yes,
and
yeah.
just, you know what, I don't. I'd rather not.
Yeah. Well, see, for us military folks, it's like no big thing. It's like, oh, it's just a 2 week
Yeah,
exercise. We're good. We're just gonna, go out
pretty
and
much.
be out in the fields
Yep.
and play. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, all right. So loved every part of it. Fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your trip, about the preparation for it, anything at all?
I'll tell you what. The one regret I didn't have, I didn't. The one regret I do have is I probably should have got a gym membership and spent 3 months on the stairmaster because it
Uh-huh.
was we went from 7,000 feet up to 18,000,
Hmm.
but it's not just this. It's you go up a mountain and then you have to go down all the way to a river, cross the river, and go up the next
Hmm.
mountain. And though you may only ascend a net gain of 1,000 feet,
Hmm.
you're going down 2,000 and up three, and it's all stairs, all of it. So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
the trekking poles, I'd never used them before, and everybody said get them. I don't care if you don't like them, get
Hmm.
them, and I'm so glad I did.
Saving grace, huh?
My knees would have been destroyed if it weren't for those.
Yeah, I was about to say when you're because I've done the incline in Colorado, and I haven't done
Yeah.
uh now I'm losing it, but there's also like an incline but in Hawaii, and it's like super steep.
Yes.
Um and when I did the incline in Hawaii, going down, or not Hawaii, in Colorado, going down, like my knees were so bad. So going up is like, okay, I got this. But then going down is like, oh my gosh. So yeah, any help, any
Yeah.
assistance we can get, right?
Yep. Yep. Especially,
Wow.
I mean, I'm 41, so my knees are not exactly young.
Yeah, us old
Um,
people over here, we're like, ooh, I drank too hard.
yeah.
I gotta go to the
Yeah.
hospital. I drank water too hard. I gotta go to the hospital. Yeah, no, so definitely like better
Speaks.
preparation, stairmaster work and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say there was one highlight on about a third of the way up. There's a small town called Namche Bazaar,
Uh-huh.
and in this town they have the world's highest Irish pub.
Oh,
And
very fun.
they bring kegs of Guinness up there. The yaks carry up these kegs every
Oh
week.
my gosh. And they're probably sold out
Yep.
like every day.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't get any on the way up, but on the way back,
Mhm.
we said, you know what, if we're gonna have an episode, it's gonna be on the way home.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we went in
yeah.
there and had a pint or two and took some pictures, signed the wall.
Mhm.
That was a great highlight.
Oh,
Having a
fun.
beer after one beer after 2 weeks of no alcohol and all vegetarian.
And at altitude,
That
so
was and at altitude. So yeah, we were all cheap dates that
yeah.
night.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Thanks for coming on and chatting with
Yeah,
me. I appreciate it, Sean. So before I let any of my guests leave, I like to do a just for fun speed round. So are you ready to go?
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So what was your favorite part of the trip?
Just the scenery. Couldn't beat it.
The
That
scenery?
exhilaration, those endorphins and dopamine of just getting there. You've prepped years for
Hmm.
this moment.
Oh, awesome.
It paid off.
Very cool. So would you rather be at the peak in the bitter cold or sweltering here in the triple digits in San Antonio, Texas?
Oh man. Um, if I could somehow take a helicopter
Hmm.
up there and sit up there with a glass of bourbon, I think that would have to be it.
Okay. All right. All right. So kind of because that's like a almost like a summer winter type of question. So this is more of, are you beach bum? Do you like the water, or are you that mountain man that likes the hike?
nine out of 10 times mountains.
Gotcha. Me too. I like the beach, but I love the mountains more. All right. So if you could
Same.
go anywhere else in the world, because you already did this one, but anywhere in the world, all expenses paid, where would you go?
I'd have to say New Zealand.
Ah, fabulous. We love New Zealand. So we've been, and we want to go
Yeah.
back for it. So we went in the summertime here, which is July. We actually literally went in July, and it was the winter time there. And we want to go back in their summertime because it was like we skied in
Yeah.
July over there. So we'd love to go back and do the summer, but
Wow.
it's so beautiful and nature and yeah, love it.
Yeah. So some of the scenes at Everest, walking through the snow
Hmm.
and these hills, it looked like a scene out of Lord of the Rings. I kind of felt like I was in that movie,
Hmm.
and knowing that was filmed in New Zealand, like, well, okay, I think I need to go there too.
You do. Bucket list, bucket
Yeah.
list. Awesome. Well,
Yep.
thank you so much, Shawn. For everybody else, we won't see you next week, but the week after. So cheers to you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.